Am I the a-hole for being angry at my girlfriend for basically abandoning me during our couple's vacation? I, 27, male, and my girlfriend, 26, female, have been together for 4 years and lived together for nearly 2 years. Recently, due to our work schedule, we have been unable to go out much. My girlfriend loves skiing. I am a newbie to hiking and climbing. I can't do this due to my fear of heights. A few weeks ago, it was her birthday. I bought her a necklace and proposed we organize a couple's trip to the mountains. I paid for it. The following was the schedule we came up with. Day 1, skiing separately. Day 2, skiing alone and visiting a particular tourist spot we saw on the internet in the evening. Day 3, hiking together while chatting. Day 4, visiting the town nearby. Day 5, visiting another tourist spot and more in general, free time together. And Day 6, go back home. Then, 1 week before our trip, she informed me that she had invited one of her friends and her boyfriend to come with us. She would pay for their hotel, and they would pay for the rest. I was a bit upset because she didn't even ask me, despite the schedule we made together. This is how we spent the days. Day 1, skiing. Day 2, skiing. Day 3, hiking. She talked to her friend the whole time. Day 4, skiing and visiting the town nearby as a group. Day 5, she found out there was a climbing spot nearby and decided to go there in the morning. She was supposed to come back at 1 p.m., but came back in the evening. Day 6, we went back home. During the whole trip, I asked her multiple times if we could do something together as a couple, and every time she told me we would spend the 5th day alone together. That didn't happen, so we basically spent zero time together. I tried to let it go, but once we got home, she realized I was upset. She insisted to know what was going on. So I told her I was happy she had fun, but upset our couple's trip became a group trip in which she either abandoned or ignored me. She got angry, claiming that since this was supposed to be her birthday trip, she had the right to decide what she wanted to do. Am I the a-hole for being angry over what happened? In my opinion, no, you're not the a-hole. Your girlfriend behaved like an a-hole because she hijacked a trip that you wanted to give her as a gift. She is right though, it was her birthday, she could have done whatever she wanted. But that is something that should have been agreed upon before you guys went on the trip. The whole idea was that it was going to be a couple's trip, right? But then she unilaterally decided to invite a friend of hers and her boyfriend and pay for their hotel. So it's like she actually took money out of her pocket to make it so that it wouldn't be a couple's trip. Not only that, she agreed with you on a schedule of activities that you guys were supposed to do together, but none of that happened. And the one day that she kept telling you that you guys were going to spend together, she ditched you for the whole day. Honestly, it seems to me like your girlfriend really went out of her way to avoid being alone with you. After the effort that you made to try to have some alone time with her, she ditched you. So no, I don't think you're the a-hole. And I would actually give a lot of thought as to the future of this relationship. And what do you guys think? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comments section. And now let's go check out the community comments. LB1076 says, not the a-hole. You basically paid to go someplace and be alone. Can't wait to hear how you are sitting alone on your honeymoon while she is parasailing. Seriously discuss with her why she thought this was okay, as she spent zero time with you as a couple and then lied to you and left you the entire 5th day by yourself instead of spending it with you. If this is normal behavior for her, you might want to explore other options. From the Couture says, not the a-hole. Your plans were clear. The way you wrote it, you seem to have a gut sense that she didn't really want to spend time with you on the vacation and that you haven't been spending much time together before that. I don't think I'd spend time rehashing the vacation issues with her, but would be having some conversations about the relationship. It appears you may be in different places on that at the moment, or you just need to communicate some more to get back in sync. Eve3 says, not the a-hole. Your girlfriend sucks. It may have been her present, but it was a specific present, a couple's trip. That she invited her friend in the first place was an a-hole move. Spending the week with her instead of you was the equivalent of her screaming in your face that she has no interest in you or spending time with you. She has no better explanation beyond saying she wasn't wrong. Sorry, but she's done with you. Maybe she wanted a free trip. Maybe she can't afford to live on her own yet. Maybe she just doesn't know how to tell you, but she's avoiding being alone with you for a reason. Opie responds, quote, maybe she can't afford to live on her own yet, end quote. We both have jobs that pay us enough to not worry about money. About the rest, you may be right. Additional information from ops comments. I didn't want to reveal this bit since it wasn't exactly a core point for this post, but I had bought a ring before her birthday and I intended to propose to her on this trip. I decided to wait when she invited her friends, but I brought the ring anyways, just in case the right moment came. I guess fate wanted to send a message. The idea of marriage has already gone down the ditch. So, the community agrees that Opie is not the a-hole, and the major consensus is that she was really doing her best to avoid spending time with him. Also, Opie told us that he wanted to propose but decided not to. Now, let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. I stayed at a friend's house for the last couple of days. I didn't have the strength to deal with my girlfriend. I read all your comments and advice yesterday. I went back home today and waited in the living room for her to come back. I was obviously still upset, but I tried to stay calm and asked her how she felt about the trip and about what I had told her after we came back. She reiterated that she thought I was exaggerating and that the trip was a success and that everybody had fun. I reminded her that we had originally agreed this was supposed to be a trip for us to spend some time together. I asked her if she really thought that, even under that point of view, the trip had been a success. She hesitated but said that we will have plenty of time to spend together in the future. I told her that I doubted it and showed her the engagement ring I had bought to propose to her. I explained that before the trip, I was sure she was the woman I would have loved to spend my whole life with, but that after what happened, I reflected deeply on our relationship and realized that it wasn't working out. I explained how much I sacrificed for her in the past, only to be left alone when I needed help, and how much what she did on the trip hurt me. She tried to say something, but I told her I was sick of listening to her and never being listened to. I told her I didn't want to listen to her now, and probably not in the near future either. So we broke up. She said we could still be together, and that she would try to fix things in some way. I don't know how she planned to do that, and to be sincere, I don't care anymore. Just the thought that I wasted my only vacation for the next 5 months being the driver and doormat for her. And her friends make my blood boil. Tomorrow, I have to go back to work, and I just want to think about something else and move on with my life. She was always a bit self-centered, but we originally used to support each other. The last few months, though, her problems were our problems, and my problems were my problems. Anyway, the house is mine, so she wanted to stay with a friend. I wanted to thank all the people who commented under the original post for the advice. Thank you and goodbye. Well, OP, I think you've made the right decision. You were about to spend the rest of your life with somebody that, as you said, in that last moment, her problems were your problems, and your problems, well, you were just alone. That sucks. That's not part of a relationship. So again, I think you've made the right decision. And on that note, here's wishing you the best in the future. OP, thanks so much for sharing and take care. And now, let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? And it's by user Angie Pangy. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to pay extra rent if I happen to use a room more than my roommate does, who's never here, and I didn't claim the room to be my room? Context: I moved in with my college friend almost a year ago. She's a teacher, and she didn't have a summer job set up. I'm not a teacher, so I don't have a summer break, have paid vacation leave, etc. So far, I've paid rent for these past 2 months and did not receive her other half. We talked about this prior, and I'm basically not giving her a deadline, but when she starts working again, when her school year starts, I suggested she can pay me back a little at a time per month to make up for the 2 months of her half. She basically owes a month of rent to me. I am home more often than her because I work from home twice a week. We have a spare room because technically we are in a 3-bedroom apartment. We had the idea in the beginning of making it an office area for both of us. I was obviously enthusiastic about it, and bought my desk first and just set it in the corner of the room. I happen to just be in that area more often because my desk and laptop are there for me to work or whatever. Everything else is not even set up in the room, and it's almost used as a big closet for our coats, winter clothes, suitcases, and holiday decorations. I do have a little Yamaha keyboard as well that I play occasionally, and it sits there too. She also keeps a bag of her school supplies there. Lately, I've been roasting her about owing her rent jokingly because we joke around like that. But then she suddenly said, "Dude, we actually need to talk about the rent in the spare room. My cousin suggested that you pay more because your stuff is in there and you use it all the time, not me." Her stuff is in there, as I said. Her suitcases, winter clothes, school supplies, all in there. And I recently organized everything and cleaned the area and let her know most of what I use in there is the desk that I got because I thought we were going to have an office area together. She could have made any suggestions about the room that she wanted, and she's more than welcome to use it. Not only this, but I've previously suggested having another roommate to have the spare room instead or to move somewhere else that is cheaper and only 2 bedrooms. It's not my fault she didn't have a job lined up for the summer. It's not my fault she's not here as often as I am. She almost goes out of town to see her boyfriend and his family every weekend. It's not my fault she had been taking Ubers to school a lot during her previous school year. I have tuition to pay to my master's program. School starts this year for me, and my budget will be tight. Well, OP, no, in my opinion, you are not the a-hole because you guys went on it together, and the fact that she's just not catching up to, let's say, using the room, doesn't mean she's going to pay less. Also, the fact that she doesn't have a job for the summer is irrelevant to the fact that she still should pay rent, or else, let's face it, anybody who rents an apartment can tell the landlords, hey, you know what, I'm going out on holiday for a month, so I'm not going to pay rent for a month. That's not how it works. I think the solution of getting a third person in or looking for a smaller place is a great solution that could fit both of your budgets. And if she's still trying to skip out on paying you back, maybe move your desk and all your stuff to your room. That way, she's the only one using that room, and she has to pay more rent according to her own logic. What do you guys think about OP's situation? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's move on to the community comments. Fun Attorney 4071 says, not the a-hole. You should have had a roommate's agreement in writing that stated it was going to be an office or storage area for both of you, and decide what you would do if she didn't have work over the summer periods. She has got people whispering in her ear. She is complaining to people over her trouble affording her rent this summer. That is her responsibility to get a job and cover, not yours. You are helping her, and she is massively ungrateful. She is looking for ways she can pay less or rather not pay you back for what you are paying for her rent now. Take your belongings and desk out of the room and give her options to choose from. Get a roommate for the third room, move to a smaller apartment, or one of you can move out and the other can get new roommates. All depends on who has the name on the lease. Also, make a decision how much she owes you and decide how much she will repay and when. Get it in writing. I would also feel resistant to help her with the rent because she is definitely making moves to give you reasons not to pay you back. And I can understand that you will need that money back when you go back to school. She needs a base, but is resenting paying money for it because she spends so little time there. But that is irrelevant. If her stuff is there, she is there, and she has to accept and deal with that. Good luck for the future and in getting a better roommate. Let's face it, she doesn't really want to work. She wants to go to her boyfriend or family and not spend time working. And Opie responds, there's probably going to have to be an agreement in writing. Apparently, she doesn't want a roommate because she doesn't imagine another person living there. Then I told her, okay, but if she's not going to be okay with it, I'm not going to be okay with it. And if that's the case, we're going to have to get another roommate in order to solve the issue with the room. Neatly 583 says, 2 people moved in and agreed to split rent. She owes you, whether she chooses to utilize the third room or not. A third roommate sounds like a good solution if money is an issue. And Opie responds, it's something she doesn't understand. I told her, I get it if you're never actively using a room. Why should you have to pay the same amount? But at the end of the day, it's not my fault that you are choosing not to use it, and I shouldn't be affected by it. She said I was getting defensive when I mentioned that. LOL. Professional Dog 6981 says, first of all, her cousin needs to mind her own business unless cousin is willing to pay what's owed. Zip it. Look for another roommate and give her an eviction notice for non-payment of rent or move out once your lease is up. Not the a-hole. Alright, so the community is majorly in agreement that Opie is not the a-hole and that the roommate is trying to look for excuses to not pay Opie back any money. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. She is now stating that she's going to take her stuff out of the room and does not claim it. In the same breath, she said it wouldn't be okay for her to be paying the same amount of rent if the room is all to myself. I never asked her to move her stuff out. Additionally, when I kept asking her to look into different 2-bedroom apartments with me for cheaper rent months ago, She said that she was complacent where we are and would not mind paying her share. I am now searching for both new apartments and potential roommates on my own, practically with any of her reception or help. If we have to move, it's going to be a pain in the butt because I start school in the fall. I've been texting her about cheaper options since May, and she said she was fine with paying the same half. She's been paying it. It's all changed now since she owes me an entire month of rent. OP's final update. I discussed what she texted, and I explained to her to not think that just because I'm working in there or watching something in there, she can't come in to do whatever she wants. I told her she has the option to tutor there, do her schoolwork there, do anything. She proceeded to say, well, I would just feel awkward interrupting you or coming in there while you're working. Okay. But I explained to her that if we make it so that it seems homey or like each of us has our own little working areas, or literally whatever, it really wouldn't be a big deal. She's always at the kitchen table because she grades. It doesn't bother me because I never sit down when eating, or if I do, it's at my desk. It's just how I am. So she's always in the same place too. I told her, going by her logic, I could take everything of mine from the living room and say that I don't claim the living room, and that she would have to pay extra. She says that it's different because the living room and the kitchen are shared spaces. So is the spare room. Your stuff has been in there for a year. No one is excluding anyone from it. I said that I do understand her point of view because she feels like if she's not using a room, she shouldn't have to pay for it. But I explained my point of view. If you're not using it just because you are choosing not to use it, why should I have to pay more for what you choose to do? I never stopped you from using it, and you're still allowed to use it. She then said I was making a big deal out of it. No, you're the one who said you're taking your stuff out of the room, and you also said that you think it's kind of messed up that we're paying the same amount of rent while, in her words, you have 2 rooms. I said, if you think it would help us, maybe we should get another roommate. But she said they wouldn't adjust to us. I don't want to live with anyone else. Then I just ended up saying, okay, it's your decision. She's now sitting in the corner of the kitchen at the table as she always does. I'm sitting at my desk as I always do. I'll just be looking for better options now. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, OP, I do exactly the same. Just look for better options and get out of there as soon as possible. This person is trying to trap you, and you're just paying more money, and she's not giving out any solutions to it. Just drop her. Here's wishing you the best, OP. Now, let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user BoyInBlack13x. Rude Karen customer said she won't move from the cash register until she gets her way. So, years ago, I worked at a 7-Eleven. This happened during a graveyard shift. On a graveyard shift, there's only one cashier on the till, and in my province, prepaying for fuel was about 3 to 4 years required by law. But a lot of older people refused to prepay for their gas and would demand that they can just leave their car behind. Well, that's a no-go, considering the pumps were programmed that the pumps won't turn on until there's a payment or pre-authorization. I can't simply turn on the pump. Anyways, at around 4 a.m., it was the store's morning rush, and I had those Karen come up with her drinks and food and wanted me to turn on the pump and wait until her husband was done pumping. I explained how pre-authorization works for fuel, but she was not having none of it. I'm starting to get a lineup of people getting their coffee and food, etc. I explain again. I can't simply turn on the pump, and pre-authorization is super easy. She doubled down and said she's going to stand here until I turn on the pump so they can gas up and leave. At this time, I'm getting annoyed and said loudly, so you're not going to prepay for gas and will hold up the line? She muggily said, yes. So I grabbed her already scanned items that I bagged up and put away from her reach and stepped to the other till and started serving the customer behind her and moving the line up to the other till. She was pissed off, lol. And after serving 3 or 4 other customers on the next till, she finally gave in and prepaid.